First, I want all of you to close your eyes and listen to a familiar tune I'm about to play. Now, open your eyes. Think about some of the emotions that come to mind when you hear that. Maybe it's joy, maybe it's happiness. But now I want you to close your eyes again and listen to a different version of the same tune. Now, open your eyes. Think about some of the new emotions that come to mind when you hear that. Maybe this time it's sadness or depression. Sounded almost like a completely different piece, didn't it? But what if I told you the difference between those two pieces was a single note on either hand? Music is the hidden language that we were all born with, but ever so often overlooked. Now, if music was such a powerful tool, why isn't anybody taking advantage of it? A recent survey conducted by the Associated Board of Royal Schools of Music found that over 65% of all adults don't play a musical instrument, with most citing a lack of interest or simply not coming from a musical family. This shows to the lack of emphasis that society places on music, with most seeing that as just another job or a profession that they probably won't study further. However, the implications are far greater than that. In fact, a recent study done by Harris Interactive found that schools with a music program have an average 90% graduation rate as compared to only a 73% in schools without music programs. But I'm not here to continue preaching like a pushy mom about why or why not you should have been taking piano lessons, because believe it or not, just listening to music can provide many of the same benefits. As Howard Shore, an award-winning movie composer, once said, music is essentially an emotional language, so you want to feel something from the relationships and build music based on those feelings. With this link between emotion and music as the basis of my discussion, I hereby propose 3 things with the acronym T that you can do to better your own life with music. The first of which is using music as a form of therapy, using music to enhance your performance, and using music to express yourself. Let's begin with using music as a form of therapy. Now, most of you probably already know that music is capable of creating and reinforcing all sorts of different emotions. But what exactly is it about the music that causes us to feel this way? Dr. Vicki Williamson, a professor in music psychology at Goldsmiths University, believes it's mostly a result of cultural conditioning, saying that when we listen to tunes, we rely heavily on our body of memory for the music we've heard all our life. To clarify, Dr. Williamson is saying that because we listen to different music in different contexts, we associate those emotions to the music when we hear it again. Some of the examples that she gives are how major music is often used during times of celebration, or general fun times like the song called Celebration by Kool and the Gang. In contrast, minor music is often used to mark times of mourning or heartache, like Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. But what exactly does all this mean? Well, it turns out that this very characteristic of music that allows us to revisit the past makes it such a powerful tool for therapy. 2 years ago, my dog died. I did everything with him. I did my homework, played fetch, but most importantly, we listened to music. While it was hard at first coping with the realization that he was no longer with me, once I emerged from the initial grief, I decided to revisit some of the music that I listened to while he was still with me, and it was an entirely different experience. It was almost as if he was right there next to me, and that was all it took for me to finally come to terms with the loss. Music was a time travel machine that I needed to lift myself out of grief. Now, completely shifting tones, music can also be used as a way to enhance your performance. A common misconception that people have about sports is that they're entirely physical activities. However, most athletes would probably also agree with me that the mental aspect can play just as big, if not an even bigger role in performance. As a swimmer myself, the anxiety that I get before a race is indescribable. My palms get sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on my swimsuit already, mom's spaghetti, wait, that's not right. But apart from my mom's spaghetti, all these different things prevented me from performing to the best of my ability. That is until our coach recommended listening to music. And not just any type of music, but heavy metal rock music that went a little something like this. Now, to be honest, that was a genre of music I never thought I would listen to, but just like that, my anxiety vanished. My face transformed into a little something like this, and although I don't swim nearly as fast as Michael Phelps does, I finished the best race of my life. Now, what exactly is going on here? A group of Brazilian researchers believe they have the answer. In a recent 2015 study they conducted on 15 long-distance runners, 3 important conclusions were reached. Firstly, the presence of motivational music before and during the run managed to help drastically improve times, as it stimulated the muscles and distracted the brain from other signals like fatigue. This is shown here on the chart behind me, where fast motivational music played during the run yielded the lowest perception of fatigue according to the Brunel mood scale. In addition, calming music after the run also managed to help accelerate recovery time, relaxing these muscles. Music is the perfectly legal performance-enhancing drug. But don't worry, however, if you're not an athlete, because in practice, these conclusions can stretch way beyond sports. With this investigation, it's clear that music can stimulate, relax, and even distract the brain. Maybe it's the morning before a big test and you still feel asleep from the night before. Rock music is the answer. Maybe it's the moment before a big performance and you still feel really nervous. Calm music is the answer. Maybe you received a bad grade and you can't stop thinking about it. Any music to distract is the answer. Music is essentially the real-life cheat code. Now finally, music can be used to express yourself. Remember when I said I'm not here to preach about why you should take music lessons? Well, I lied. Because music is capable of conveying emotions that more than words may ever be able to. If we return to the question, why does sad music sound sad? It turns out that another major part is within the music itself. In a recent study done on Mafan tribe members, who are unaccustomed to what Dr. Williamson would call cultural conditioning, it turns out that even though they didn't perform as well as the German listeners did, they could still very well recognize which music was supposed to be sad or which was supposed to be happy. And it's this very premise that is the basis of jazz music, a dying form of music that originated from slave songs and were ways in which African Americans could express their pain and anger far more effectively than with words. As a prominent jazz trumpetist Miles Davis once said, "Anybody can play. The note is only 20%. The attitude of the dude who plays it is 80%. Now that I've shown you all today what music is truly capable of, I hope we will all be able to extend our human voice to where our hidden language can be fully celebrated, and in doing so, be able to speak louder and clearer than in any other language. Thank you.